Right. Wait a few minutes. Let some more people come into the chat and onto the live. I want to make sure you guys can hear me and that I'm coming through clearly. All that kind of good stuff. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Right. I'm going to wait 2 more minutes and let some more people come in. And we're going to start. I promise you guys it wouldn't be more than 12 minutes. And we do this because you guys know I can talk. And I don't want to keep you up all night listening to me talk. But we're going to go ahead and get started. The good news is when you do a live that you can actually put this back on and you can actually, have people watch it later when they have more time and they're more focused. I think that's what we're going to do here. So first, let me welcome you all. I'm Curious Formula, and I'm glad that you are joining our live. We call this weekly time on Sundays, Curious Sundays, and this is our first time doing it, and we hope to continue to do it. I'm making good on my promise. I promised everyone that if I got to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, that I would do more content. Well, I'm a man of my word. We got to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube page and my channels. I want to say thank you to everybody who did so and thought it not robbery. Spend time with your boy. If you like the content, if you just did it because I've been bothering you to do it for years, for months, for weeks, for days at a time, I thank you for it. But please let everybody else know that you know. Spread this out. Get them to subscribe, to like, and comment. I want to see your comments. I want to see your likes. We're going to have more content coming out this week. And every week, at least one video commenting on politics, on policy, on social ills and society at large, giving you my take and giving you the take of my years of experience in government and in politics for your edification or for your rebuttal or for your debate. I don't care. All right, so let's get at it. So I said 12 minutes and we're going to go. It's 9:02 and we're going forward. All right, so we're going to start talking about Candace Owens. For those of you who don't know, Candace Owens, commentator and pundit with the Daily Wire, was let go or reached a mutual separation agreement with the Daily Wire led by Ben Shapiro, right-wing organization, right-wing group. I expect her to go independent. Candace Owens actually has a YouTube page that has 1 million strong. She is indicated to, look out. Things are going to come pretty fast and quick with her. Let me start by saying, I agree. This is going to take some of you by surprise. I agree with some of the things that Candace Owens actually says. I believe she's right on point, as with many people when they talk about the lack of Black fathers being a cause, not the cause, but a cause of a lot of dysfunction with young people in terms of criminality, in terms of mental issues, in terms of not being able to sustain good families and the like. I think there's a point to that. I think when she talks about looking to our own individual and collective power, self-determination, and self-interdependence amongst the African-American community, I think she's right about that. I think we give a lot of lip service to doing for self, for being our own greatest gift, of being Black girl magic and strong Black manhood. But the results, I think, are scant, or at least not strong enough so that we can actually put forward that we have a vision for what Black America needs to look like. I also agree with her when she talks about the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party on many issues, and can agree with her as many millennials and independent African Americans feel the Democratic Party comes around during election time. There's a lot of sort of window dressing, doesn't really do a whole lot to end age-old problems like education and solving poverty and creating the conditions in America where we can do for self. And I do believe that she was right in her indictment of Black Lives Matter, the organization, not the frame, the organization, when she talked about the amount of money that was being wasted, that how the organization actually got started, and how they actually got corporate America to support it, when the leaders of that organization really were not known by us, not supported by African Americans, and really didn't invest those dollars into the infrastructure of the African American community to change the way things happen and change laws and the whole nine. So, but the other problem I had with Candace, quite frankly, that mystifies me, and that's really indicative of the new generation of Black conservatives and Republicans in general. She said things like George Floyd is not a hero, right? As if anybody who was using George Floyd's name to talk about criminal justice reform and the problem actually ever said George Floyd was a hero. No one I know ever said that. But this is the thing that she repeats and that other Black conservatives and Black Republicans have said for a number of years. She is just wedded to Trump, like a lot of younger Black conservatives are. Like, no matter what he says, they have an excuse for, or they go, well, what about Joe Biden? Answering a question with a question, something that we all learn not to do in school. And she embraces far-right conspiracy theories that are just, again, out of the purview of normal political thought, not supported by anything except, smoking guns that have very little smoke. Long gone are the Black Republicans that I think a lot of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s and 90s recognize. Long gone are the Robert Woodsons of the world, the Armstrong Williams of the world, the Edward Brooks, Senator Edward Brooks of the world, the Jackie Robinsons of the world. Jackie Robinson was a known Republican. He was someone who was a race man, as they called him in the 50s and the 60s. He was a man who was a staunch Republican, but when he saw the Republican Party not going the way or not benefiting African Americans, he made his gripes known to the Republican Party. He actually left the Republican Party when they started following Barry Goldwater, because he said Barry Goldwater is a racist. At the end of the day, I love my people more than I love my party. And I think that's the problem with Black Republicans of this generation, is that they are so hype on the rhetoric, so hype on being MAGA, so hype on being in your face. And Donald Trump's personality actually supports what they try to do on social media, because it is outrageous. It is clicks. It is clickbait. It is things that will get you, you can go viral, and then you can make money on top of that by just saying outrageous things, not supported by history, not supported by data or research or facts or anything like that. It's just iconoclastic. It's just loud, and it's just in your face. And I think too many Black Republicans, Candace Owens being one of them, follow that or take a snippet of history or a snippet of a book or a snippet of a phrase and run with that to a non-logical end, and then defend themselves as being new thinkers and thinking outside the box and criticizing African Americans who are wedded to the Democratic Party or bewildered and bemused. No, you are just magnetized. And at the end of the day, that is not republicanism, that's not conservatism, and it's certainly not common sense politics that's actually going to bring anybody out of poverty. So I wish her well, and it seems like she's changing her frame a little bit. I saw on the Breakfast Club where she was a lot less iconoclastic, a lot more respectful of African American thought, knowing where she was. She's very good at knowing where her frame is. So I wish her the best. Second thing I want to talk about really quickly is the Dem side of issue. That was the GOP side. Talking about the Dem side. Tammy Murphy, the First Lady of the state of New Jersey, wife of Governor Phil Murphy, is rumored to be suspending her race. And no, it's official. She has suspended her candidacy for the U.S. Senate. Many of you don't know, throughout the country, she is someone who was running for Senate, running for the seat currently held by Bob Menendez, who has come under indictment for the second time on a number of charges. He's been repudiated by the Democratic Party and elected officials both in New Jersey and outside of New Jersey. I'm talking about John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, who's been a very strong critic of his. The race was seemingly Tammy Murphy's to lose. People who don't know much about New Jersey politics, and I'm a former New Jersey elected official, so I'm very well versed with it. We have something called The Line. It's machine politics at its best. It's the only state in the nation that still has a primary process, where the party machine, the bosses, actually get to decide who represents the party, who's their favorite choice, their favorite son or their favorite daughter in the primary race. They put their thumb on it, and it's something called a preferential balloting. They're all on the same line, hence the name. You got to get the line if you want to win a race in New Jersey, because you're on the line with all the names you know, right? To quote a Eddie Murphy film, Distinguished Gentleman, it's the name you know. And also it's the power of the people with you, right? If you're somebody who's running for office, I'll give you a good example. When I ran for Congress in 2012, I did very well, did not win. But my opponent was on the same line as President Obama and Senator Menendez at the same time, and a bunch of other elected officials who happen to be running at that same time. It gives you an unfair advantage because they can now put you on line. They put them on line A, which is preferential place, so everybody goes, and people go, oh, vote for the Democrat. Then they put you on line B or C or D or E or F, and people are like, I can't even find you on the ballot, and I don't know you. You're not a real Democrat. You're not running with Obama. You're not running with Menendez. This is kind of what they did. Andy Kim's congressman from New Jersey decided to put his hat in the ring and basically running an anti-corruption campaign. That not only included running against Bob Menendez, it meant running against the system, running against machine politics and the bosses in New Jersey. Now, granted, Andy Kim didn't mind getting the party bosses to support him when he ran for Congress, right? And some of the critics didn't mind being a boss themselves in this process in years past. And so I have a few ideas about sort of how reformist they are, that when they're actually running for a seat and recognizing that they cannot get the party boss's support, it's good to run and say, I'm against party bosses. But when you did get party boss support, you were for the system, or you were mum about it, at least quiet, or at least someone who went along to get along. But I'm not going to quibble about sort of how it happened. I'm just glad the system is falling. It shows that democracy is alive and well in New Jersey. It's the beginning of an end to corruption and backdoor politics and smoke-filled rooms and having county committee people not be part of the process. It's the end of hopefully a quid pro quo. You scratch my back, I scratch yours in order to get support. And it's a good sign for democracy. Is it the only step? No. And I think that people in New Jersey need to recognize that ending the line is the first step to actually decentralizing power and actually democratizing the primary system. Because for me, as something I've been talking about for 20 years, the problem is not just the line in New Jersey. It's the fact that any party boss, any apparatus, any machine can weigh in on a primary when that is for the voters to decide. Again, when you have a primary election to see who's going to be the Democratic nominee, how is it okay for the party to say, well, we want to have a nominee, we want to select a candidate who we think is the best Democrat in the race for the Democrats, when the people are supposed to decide who the best Democrat is or the best Republican is, not the machine. And so until that ends, we're not going to have real democracy. But I think it's a good sign when you talk about people who are fighting against January 6th, who are saying that enough is enough when it comes to dealing with corruption and dealing with anti-democratic forces, that is not just on the Republican side that we're saying that. It's good to see that Democrats are standing up within their own party and saying enough is enough. We want more democracy. We want more access to power. We want more decentralization of power. And we want more voices heard, different voices heard. I hope and expect that means that there will be more Democrats who are not from the usual cauldron of elected officials that will be running, small business people, community activists, and now we can hopefully tackle campaign financing. So maybe public financing of elections will be the next big step, in my opinion, in New Jersey and other similarly situated states in order to decentralize democratic voices, increase turnout, and get average citizens to participate in the process, not only as voters, but as candidates and as people working on campaigns. The last thing I want to talk about is I want to end with something good, right? We always talk about good news and the need for more good news. And so we're going to talk about something good that happened this past week. A new drug was offered as an Alzheimer's breakthrough. I'm going to really mess up this name, but Donanemab is working with a protein that builds up the brains of people with Alzheimer's. Eli Lilly, I know it's still big pharma, is the firm behind it, though. And though it's yet to publish its detailed findings on its phase 3 trial, it has said that 1,700 people took part of their last trial and that the drug slowed cognitive decline by 29%. So the drug is not necessarily suitable for people with advanced Alzheimer's or other types of dementia. But the fact is that even as more research is needed and some time is going to be necessary for this firm to make it available for prescription, it does mark a significant progress in tackling a disease that has stumped scientists for decades. And so let me just say and wrap this up that where we see a lot of cancer issues, more and more people seemingly getting cancer, battling cancer, more and more people getting dementia and Alzheimer's. I think a lot of it is tied to food and how it's produced and how it's packaged and processed and what it's shot up with. I think a lot of that is leading to disease. That's for another live on another time. But I am glad to see that there is some positive news in terms of being able to beat this back. For me and my family, I'm a cancer survivor for 3 years. Thanks be to God. But I also had a grandmother that died from Alzheimer's. I had 2 grandparents that actually died from Alzheimer's. It's good to see that there is a new drug that could potentially slow that decline down. And as people are living longer, hopefully they can have longer cognitive skills and processes going forward. Well, that's my time. That's 12 minutes. Thank you all for getting me to 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. If you like this, please subscribe. Tell others to subscribe, like, and comment on what you've heard. We have more content coming on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to having you give me your comments and tell me what you'd like to hear from. Tell me what you'd like to discuss. Tell me what you'd like to know and have me comment on, criticize me, beat me up. Give me some new links to data research. I will certainly read it if you have a different viewpoint going forward. Thank you for watching. Spread the word. Like my other pages on TikTok, Curious_Formula, and on Instagram at Curious_Formula as well. Stay curious. And like George Clinton says, think it ain't illegal yet. Peace.